this episode of Just Another Year Chicago. My name is Nick Brody, joined alongside my good friend and co-host Tony Cepeda. Bears win 25-24 in Seattle in the Snow Bowl of the year. We're calling it the Snow Bowl of the year. There definitely was one more other snow game. But anyway, the Bears won behind Nick Foles, David Montgomery, Robert Quinn, and Jimmy Graham. What a game for the Bears. It came down to the wire, was a little intense there at the point. There were cheap shots on Cairo Santos. There was crazy calls against the Bears. Bruce Irvin almost gave it up again at the end for the Bears with a silly penalty. But overall, Bears win 5-10, spoiled the Seattle Seahawks fun of making the playoffs. The Seattle Seahawks are officially eliminated from playoff contention. So take that, Russell Wilson. You should have came to Chicago. So, Tony, initial reaction to the Chicago Bears win.
It was just fun to compete, man. It was fun that we were in the game, and it wasn't like right at the end, like you said, that Bruce Irvin thing. It definitely had that feel where, oh my gosh, I can't believe we're doing, the Steelers, whatever it is, we're doing this again. What an idiot. Come on, guys. But the clock finally hit 0 and the Bears had more points. And it was a weird sight to behold. First win, and what is it? We beat the Lions
on Thanksgiving.
We've lost 8 of 10 now. So we have 2 wins in the last 10. I'm not saying keep Nagy, but just kidding, everyone. They shouldn't have won that game. That's kind of my overall take. Like the Seahawks were just bad too. It was just a bad football game. I can't believe we watched it. We only watched it because we love this team way too much. And that's kind of the overall I got.
The weather had things to do with this game. I mean, the field was an absolute disaster to play on. Like DK Metcalf also was non-existent minus his touchdown at the beginning of the game. They didn't have Chris Carson, which is obviously a big part of their offense. Their offensive line was slipping all over the field. Robert Quinn is half a sack away from tying Richard Dent. So it was a fun game because there was a lot of things that could come about. Like Nick Foles, third quarterback of the season for the Chicago Bears, ex-Super Bowl MVP, goes ahead and wins the game behind 250 passing yards and 1 touchdown. But also the David Montgomery show. I mean, he is just proving that he is the heart and soul of the Chicago Bears offense, which is great to see. I mean, he had a total, I believe he was over 100 yards. He had 106 yards today, 21 carries. So he didn't do well on the ground as a whole. But man, when he caught the ball, he was just turning it up. And that's what, like you said, it was competitive. It was fun. Roquan Smith against Bobby Wagner, the guy who snubs him every year of a Pro Bowl and an potential all-pro voting. We hope that Roquan gets the vote, but it was just a weird day. And, playing in Seattle is never an easy task, especially with the playoffs on the line.
Yeah, I completely agree. And when I said it was a bad game, it was a bad game, but I know there's other factors, and everyone's out with injuries and everything, and the weather, obviously. If it weren't for that, I got to give Nagy credit here. Don't keep him. Just be clear. We'll do our Nagy bashing in a little bit. Do not keep him around. I respect the balls on that to just be like, our season's over. Who cares? We're just going to go for 2. Let's win the dang game. That's what I said it. I was like, he better go for 2 here if we score. And he did. And I respect that at least. I don't know. He was like, we got to give the Bears fans a win. It's something. I don't know what his exact reason was. If it's just, hey, I'm looking for a new job. I got to get a win here. Whatever it was, that made it fun. Damiere Bryd is that his first name, right? Damiere Bryd.
Damiere Bryd, you got it.
What a wild, couple weeks he's had.
It was like an Odell Beckham Jr. catch.
Because, he goes from last week where he's, trying to catch it with his elbows and just dropping everything to, he's one hand palming it over 3 defenders, getting 2 feet in while he's being carried out of the back of the end zone like he was getting kicked out of a bar. That was exciting. If the Bears had lost that game, they don't complete that 2-point conversion, then, you can be excited about a loss, but the tune of this podcast, we probably wouldn't have even done a post-game podcast. It would have just been like, that game sucked. But we won, and it was exciting at the end. So it made it all worth it. The Bears win, baby.
So it's very likely it could be Matt Nagy's last win as the Chicago Bears head coach. I could see them beating the Giants next week at Soldier Field. But Minnesota, I know Minnesota lost today, which was a huge hurt in the NFC North for them, but we don't really care. They knocked us out of the playoffs. It was crazy because Matthew Stafford played bad against the Vikings, but we're not here to talk about that game. Overall, just the Bears have to go up to Minnesota in week 17. It means nothing to the Bears, but the Bears could also spoil their playoff chances. So that could be a lot of fun. But let's go into, the main highlight of today. And that arguably it's Nick Foles. Nick Foles, ex-Super Bowl or former Super Bowl MVP for the Philadelphia Eagles, who are red hot, by the way, and now in the playoff picture, went 24 for 35 today with 250 passing yards and a passing touchdown. No interceptions for the Bears today. Zero. No. Zip. You don't hear that very often. So Matt Nagy had that going for him today, calling plays. But, you know, like we said, Dave Montgomery had a beast of a game, over 100 yards total. His rushing really wasn't there. He had 21 carries for 45 yards with 2.1 yards per carry, but his receiving was where it was at. Seven receptions, 61 yards for 8.7 yards per carry. What a day, though. I mean, what a day for the offense, especially the receivers. A lot of people predicted that this game was going to be, you know, just slip and slide, run the ball, no one pass it because quarterbacks aren't going to be able to get grip on anything. Both quarterbacks went pretty, you know, head to head on that. And the Bears defense also in the second half, passing wise, was unstoppable. So, you know, the offense did fine. And, you know, Tony, your guy, Cole Kmet, coming up with a pretty big day. You got to respect it.
I was just going to say, yeah, it was cool to see Cole Kmet out there. You got to give Nick Foles, like, if we're going to give like an MVP for the game. Like, I mean, it just kind of has to be him. If we're going to go offensively, at least. David Montgomery probably would be in the discussion there too. But Cole Kmet, he caught passes, which is crazy because it's snowing. It's like the slipperiest game they've played in all year. And I guess that game against the Cardinals, it was raining when he really had a bad game. But it was just cool to see the fact that he can catch the ball. He's not a complete waste of talent. It's not, you know, nothing like that. So it was cool to see him kind of get back on his feet there. I do want to point out real quick, I respect Nick Foles' game today. I think he had a good game. But last week, Justin Fields had 285 passing yards, a touchdown, no interceptions. And
how many fumbles?
You know, it doesn't say on the ESPN app, so I don't remember. That's what I'm going to say.
Well, I'm saying Foles and Justin Fields both had a fumble, and Jermaine Ifedi, a very hated man in Chicago, potentially saved the game by getting that fumble recovery. Just want to put that out there. That
yeah, and I guess that kind of, you know, whatever evens
He's
out. I guess is the word
year.
I'm looking for. It evens out for like the 15 quarterback pressures he let up today. I don't know what the actual number is. That's just what it felt like. The right side of the line was just a turnstile. It felt like that whole and that's why I don't want to give. I'm not even going to get on Nick Foles for the 4 sacks. I mean, he's just not a mobile quarterback. It is what it is. If Tom Brady's not a mobile quarterback either. If he had the Bears offensive line, he'd be getting sacked all the time. Nick Foles and Tom Brady are not similar. Just to be clear,
let's put something else out there, like in regards to that comment too, is that when Foles had the opportunity to run and get the first down, and he threw it away to, I believe it was Damiere Bryd, or was it Mooney?
I believe it was Bird.
I believe it was Bird.
Fact check us in the comments if we're wrong.
But like Foles was able to get it. His long 6'7" legs was able to clearly get the first down, and he threw it. And in my head, I was like, he did that to get rid of Nagy. He totally did that just to throw it and be like, oh, I'm going to give a reaction. But if we lose, Matt Nagy's gone and, hopefully, clear house, whatever. And then he goes out and practically wins the game, throwing it to Jimmy Graham and the touchdown, and then the 2-point conversion to Damiere Bryd. So the
2-point conversion was so crazy because if you rewatch that, I don't know if you noticed this, Nick. I know I noticed it. As soon as Nick Foles took 2 steps to the right, Damiere Bryd was wide open in the back of the end zone. If he hit him right there, it's just, I mean, probably catch it. He might actually drop it. I guess he can only make extremely challenging catches or something. But I mean, that would have done it right there. But it makes it more fun that I guess it ended like that. But I mean, if maybe that was Nick Foles' mindset, this is all alleged, of course, that would have definitely been a play where it's like, oh, I saw him open, I threw it to him, he probably could have caught it, but Matt Nagy called the wrong play. It's his fault. Get him out of here. I think we might be onto something here, Nick. I think we might be onto something.
All I got to say, Nick Foles is a man of the people, and either way, he's like, all right, maybe I can give the Bears a Christmas win. I can be Santa Claus. I'm good old Saint Nick. Oh, no one said that. I did not see that one, but jolly old Saint Nick saves the day and delivers for Christmas weekend for the Chicagoland area. So good for either way. He could have delivered Matt Nagy being fired or a win. I think everyone's just kind of like, woohoo, we won. And against the Seahawks, which the Seahawks the last 12 years have obviously been a pretty good team. So let's go to the defense, though. The bigger story of today is that we only held Russell Wilson to 181 yards and 2 touchdown passes. And in the second half, they did not get past more than 60 passing yards. as an offense in Seattle. Rashad Penny, though, 17 carries for 135 yards, averaging 7.9 yards per carry. And a touchdown. He ripped up the Bears defense. So the secondary is no longer the problem for the Chicago Bears. That's kind of right now, Thomas Graham Jr., shout out to him. Eddie Jackson played today too. But overall, that was just a disaster with the Bears front seven. Just want to put that out there really fast. Even though Robert Quinn tied Richard Dent's record, too many rushing yards were given up today by the Chicago Bears defense. And, looking at the stats, Roquan Smith obviously leads the way with 9 tackles, absolute beast as always. Eddie Jackson had 6 tackles. Alec Ogletree had 8 tackles. So overall, it was just like a weird day. And Jalen Johnson didn't play either, which I thought was interesting because I thought he was off COVID protocol. But Tony, any comments in regards to the defense?
Eddie Jackson, he had an okay game. I didn't think it was
a lot of missed tackles.
Yeah, there definitely were times where, like you said, like the front seven for sure obviously didn't have its best game, especially in the rushing defense aspect. But I mean, there's that one touchdown. I mean, Eddie Jackson turned into a bullfighter, just absolutely pulled the red, whatever that is, cloth out of the way and just let him walk in. I mean, yes, I know that the front seven should probably take care of that, but if it's his job to fill that hole, he's got to fill that hole, and he didn't. So that obviously hurts the rushing defense a little there. But another comment, I guess overall, yeah, you kind of said all there is to say. So my other comment is going to be about Alec Ogletree getting a BS call on where he just knocked the ball out. Just boys having fun. The boys being boys. And then the dude knocked him over and got nothing. At minimum, it should have been offsetting because they were both out of line if you really want to break it down. But I just think the refs were kind of, I don't know. I hate blaming the refs, but it feels like they're trying to hurt us every time. We got a little makeup call with the Nick Foles passer or roughing the passer, but
no comment on that. Like the Bears got it, and that's all that matters. So, final topic of the day that we're going to hit on before we leave. Again, there's not much to hit on the defense. It was more of an offensive day, which was exciting. The last comment of the day is Matt Nagy, before the game, was rumored was going to be fired tomorrow on Monday, December 27th, if he lost to Seattle. With the win, Matt Nagy is likely to stay after tomorrow. Anything could happen. It wasn't the best game. You weren't playing a good team. The playoffs were out of the picture. Sure, your offense got some things going. But overall, Matt Nagy was rumored to be fired after this game. He is now, that's obviously thrown out because they won. Anything's possible, though. But Bears fans, all we have to say is Matt Nagy's gone no matter what. I mean, go look at our Instagram, official Jay Shy, and look at the picture of Nagy just absolutely just looks exhausted, hasn't slept in weeks. He knows the end is near, as Frank Sinatra would say. It's just he did it his way, and that's the way it was, and that's how he got kicked out of town. So, Tony, initial reaction, like, it's good to get a win, but like there was always that, what if we lost the game, and what if Matt Nagy was gone, and what if the offense did this, and that? What was your initial reaction as a diehard Bears fan when the Bears won, knowing that your head coach potentially could have gotten fired anyway?
It's just so annoying that the front office or whoever's officially calling the shots, whether it's still that's George McCaskey or if that's something that they're just like, hey, Ryan Pace, you do it all, whatever it is, they can't disassociate those two things with each other with, oh, yes, we won. There is a W next to this, to the game. Matt Nagy won this game. This is good. Let's keep him. Like it is so obvious that he should be gone. And the fact that we've harped on it so much already, that new rule where you can start interviewing new coaches already once you're eliminated. In the last 2 weeks, 3 weeks, the fact that we're in that position, obviously, very obviously in that position. And they're just, maybe they will finally just be like, hey, you got your win, go, get your new contract with whatever D2 school. It's just so annoying. Why do we have to pick? Nick? Why can't we make competent decisions and win football games?
That's what's wrong with the Bears front office, is that George McCaskey is not a football player type of guy. He's an owner and he likes to make money. And, if you give head of football operations to anyone that isn't an accountant, those decisions would definitely have been made sooner than later. Yes, Ted Phillips, that's you. So I think it is what it is. Matt Nagy knows he's gone. Everyone else knows he's gone. The Bears are cleaning house anyway. Playoff contention's over. So it is what it is. But, I'll take the win. I'll take potentially the last win of the season. Looks better than 4 in, what would that be, 13 on the season. are
just nice to be a little happy, about the Bears.
Yeah.
It's been since basically October. I wasn't happy with the Bears like the Bears went over the Lions. Like the last game I was happy about for a win was that Raiders game, which is just that's too long, man. That's too long for an NFL franchise. The Lions have won more recently than us before this game.
Lions almost won again today. I just want to throw that out there is that the Lions are starting to cook something over in
That's
Detroit.
what happens when you have a good culture. Players that buy into a coach. Dan Campbell is doing some stuff up there. I'm not going to root for the Lions. I'm not going to root for Detroit, but Dan Campbell, he's absolutely doing things the right way up there. They are building something. Real quick, a little cleanup from the episode. Thomas Graham Jr. was someone we should have mentioned. He might
Another
be
great game.
Cornerback 2 next year. I mean, that man can play football. I don't know. That was exciting.
Stay tuned.
I guess we did get something out of the game. We got a little bit out of the game. It was, we saw Thomas Graham Jr. We saw a couple of these guys. Cole Kmet looks better. So.
And the Giants' first round pick from us doesn't look as good anymore. So
yes,
there's a few ways. Take the positives away, folks. That's all we got to say. But with that, Bears win 25-24 in Seattle. They are 5-10 on the season now. They eliminate the Seattle Seahawks from playoff contention behind Nick Foles and another crazy game by Roquan Smith. So with that, thank you very much for joining this episode of Just Another Year Chicago. My name is Dick Brody, joined alongside my good friend and co-host Tony Spina. By the way, Tony is going to be off the COVID list in a couple days. He is almost fully recovered. Happy to hear that. And with that, we will see you guys next time.